It's Transformers 96 here with another review. This time we have the Star Wars The Black Series Constable Zuvio. So overall very excited to get this figure. He's from Wave 2. I did just purchase him on eBay. We've got a nice picture of the character from the movie, or just some artwork of him. We've got just the regular package, red background. Overall, I do like this new style of packaging. You've got a little bit of read up on him, and just if you're wondering, you can take a look at that, because obviously this character we know nothing about so far other than this read-up, but it basically says that he's a law officer on a mostly lawless world, and he's tough and humorous, or humorless, and he tries to keep order on this trading, like on a planet that's mostly about trading and stuff. So interesting enough, character I think can be pretty neat. And considering it does say that he's humorless, that might mean that he is actually going to be used for some comedy relief, not understanding jokes or something like that. So who knows? This could be a quite interesting character. He could be not in the movie very much though. However, considering we're getting a 3¼ inch and a Black Series figure, I have a feeling that he's going to be in the movie for not a whole lot, but a fair amount, or at least have one good lengthy scene or something. So we'll have to see about that. But yeah, let's go over the actual figure. Alright, so here he is, very odd looking, of course. He's got that long helmet there that's very flat. It does have some hoses and stuff connected in the back. Very battle damaged. They did a wonderful job sculpting that. It's all sculpted. That's not just painted, which is great. And then you've got red, green, red, and then it has silver brushed into it. Looks wonderful. Gives it a metal look as well as a really worn look. We've got the face, which is looking pretty interesting. Let's get there we go. You can get a good look at it. As you can see, very neat looking. Unfortunately, on his forehead, mine does have a little bit of paint splotches on there. It's not super noticeable when you just have him in person, but looking on this camera, you can definitely see it quite well. So you might have to look out for that. I'm not quite sure. You've got kind of yellowish eyes, and his very wide yet flat nose. He's got a very flat face, as you can see. You can see his mouth sticks out a little bit from the bandages or the cloth that's wrapped around his face. Overall looking cool. I do like the little metal pieces that are connected to the back there that go around, looking nice. They're not actually, on him. They are off a little bit, which I think looks good. And very cool. He's got, some armor there. Kind of resembles a little bit of Boba Fett, especially with the Boba Fett colors. But he's got a little bit of armor on his top section there. All done in that same great colors with the red, green, with silver brush into it to give it a worn look, as well as worn sculpting, which is great. The actual, his little getup here, looking pretty nice. They sculpted the wrinkles and everything in it really well. At the bottom of the skirt area, I'm going to call it, you've got some green, dirty look to it, which I think is very cool. He does have a backpack. Unfortunately, it sits on him like sideways. I wish that you could get it more straight, but unfortunately, it does kind of sit on him sideways. But it does look great, and it's done in a really bright silver with black brushed into it to give it that worn look as well. They did a great job. Sometimes on a figure like this, they could do a few areas where it looks worn, and then a few areas where it doesn't have that worn paint, so then it just doesn't match. But on this guy, they did the worn paint throughout it, which gives it a really unified look, so very happy about that. And what's interesting about this backpack is it is actually attached to these straps. You've got the peg there, a hole on either side, and then a hole up at the top there, which is where all of the straps go into. So you got to put the 3 straps in the holes, as well as the peg hole on his back to get it to connect. A really neat idea, and it works well. It looks good. It's very seamless. You wouldn't have noticed that these parts actually came off, so very neat. Then his legs, pretty good. Even just in the little yellowish painting here, you've got some wonderful lines. They did a great job in sculpting. And then the boots are very worn. They're a tan with a yellow done in the creases, which is pretty cool. His spear here is really interesting. I would have liked some more worn detail on the butt of the spear right here. It's very pristine, which I don't like, but that's a very small complaint. And it does look like a mixture of different metals or woods mixed in to make this thing pretty neat. The strap is a pretty hard plastic. It doesn't really move whatsoever, basically. It fits in his hand pretty well, though. So yeah, so overall articulation is pretty decent on this guy. He has a ball hinge neck, which can hinge down very far, which I like a whole lot. I'm very happy about that, as well as it can go up a pretty decent amount. Nothing great, but well enough, and then it is on a ball joint, so it can really go all around. You've got ball hinge shoulders, a hinge swivel elbow. The hinge can work pretty nice, just about a 90 degree, maybe even slightly better than 90 degree, which is good. And then you've got a swivel hinge wrists, which hinges in this way, you know, and not up and down, but overall very nice there. He does have a swivel waist. It's very hard to move though because of the skirt, and it's really unnecessary. Then he's got a ball jointed hip, which is hindered by the skirt. You can get it up about that far without the skirt pushing it back down, and then it does go out pretty much as far as you'd want because there is a cut in the skirt here. Then he does have a swivel at the thigh. So the backpack's falling off. I'm going to just take it off for the articulation. He's got a swivel at the thigh here, double hinge knees, and then a hinge pivoting ankle. So overall articulation is pretty much up to code with Black Series. It's basically got all the normal points of a Black Series figure, and then the skirt doesn't really hinder him too much. You've got some slight hindrance going forward and back with the thighs, but other than that, there is really no hindrance, which is great. Let me just put the backpack on, and then we'll do some size comparisons because he is not just a normal. Alright, so here's a little comparison of the 3 3/4 inch Embo along with the 6 inch Constable Zuvio from the Star Wars movie. So as you can see, there's definitely some resemblances. Who knows? I doubt that their characters will have anything to do with each other. I doubt that the Zuvio's character was inspired by Embo whatsoever, but possibly his look might have been inspired because they are very similar. They have the same type of hat, even with the stripe down the middle is exactly the same style of hat. The face is very similar as far as he's got like the very large neck collar piece, you know, that kind of goes up over his face, and Embo does have a mask as well. They both have top armor, and then they both have skirts. You know, Embo's is a little longer, goes more towards his ankles, while Zuvio's gets cut off, you know, just about at the knee area. But they are really similar looking just in their design. So, you know, they certainly might have, at least Zuvio's look might have been inspired by Embo. I hope eventually we find out, you know, because I'd love to hear that maybe they were, that this guy was inspired by Embo's look. So, who knows, he might have no connection, but I find it hard to believe that there's not even a single connection just with his look, like when they were actually designing this character. And, oh, sorry that, you know, I'm just kind of randomly coming back here. My camera ran out of space, so that's why there was just kind of a random cut in the video. Alright, here he is compared to Finn, which Finn is actually a bit of a smaller figure. So as you can see, Finn is, you know, decent amount taller than Zuvio, and then a more normal figure, which is a Stormtrooper. As you can see, Zuvio is very small. I find, although I'm not 100% sure, I'm pretty sure that this is a, completely accurate to the movie, and I like the idea of Zuvio being shorter, you know, being a you know, an alien and stuff. It's nice that he's not just in complete scale. You know, and especially with him being shorter and him being all, you know, stern and stuff, at least by his read up, I think that can be that can make for some funny scenes. Overall, I am very happy with this figure. He's quite nice, you know, nothing amazing here, but definitely an up to par Black Series figure. Articulation is great. The paint is really nice. Other than that little bit of paint splotching on his forehead, the actual paint and the worn look that the paint has given this figure really looks fantastic, and really they did a wonderful job with it, I must say. So overall, I really do like this figure. Nothing amazing here, but he's a decent figure. And even though he's shorter, you're still getting a fine amount of plastic because he's got a nice big backpack. He has a weapon, and you know, he's got a hat, a you know, larger head than most. So you're not getting gypped on the plastic just because he is a shorter character. So overall, very happy with this Constable Zuvio, and thanks so much for watching. I'm very excited to see him in the movie. So there you go.